Super duty tough work. Blueprint. Illogic. Your boys back in the building. Been gone for a minute. We know.
Mm-hmm.
We have not been gone like that in a minute. We didn't really go anywhere, folks. We've been right here, just not podcasting because things have been going on. Things have been happening.
Yep.
Illogic is doing a 20-year anniversary show for Celestial Clockwork. He's rehearsing with a band who's going to replay and recreate the classic album that your boy produced. What's the date on the show, Illogic?
October 12th, Saturday, October 12th, Natalie's Grandview. It's going to be fire.
Let's fucking go. Once in a lifetime type of event. You're in Columbus, surrounding areas. Come check my mans out. Y'all know how we do. Support your peoples. What I've been doing, I announced Chamber Music 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the long-awaited follow-up to the 2004, classic instrumental album that I've dropped. Back before it was a real thing. Before the beat scene existed. Before MIDI controllers existed. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
Like, you couldn't just play beat sets. It didn't exist. You had to buy dub plates. Precious shit, then spin it on turntables. A whole different era. Back making more instrumental music. Announced that record myself. I got back into drawing. Doing some drawing. Got some exciting announcements on that front. I'm going to start sharing some stuff on my Instagram timeline to everybody. But brother's been busy. I've been taking classes on just like art and stuff on the low. And it's good. It's good. Summer, brother's been just enjoying it, living life. And but creativity calls. And as we go on these journeys, we catalog these journeys for y'all. We share these things with y'all so that you guys can learn from the many things that we have going on. And so you don't make the same mistakes we make.
Facts.
Because one thing about long careers is you can't see the future. You have no idea how any of this shit gonna shake out. So you be in the mix, shaking and baking, moving and grooving. You don't know what's going on the other side of the dance floor. You know what I'm saying? you don't know what the DJ about to throw on next. You just be out there shaking it. Yeah. So all we do is the records change and we just shift a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Be the two-step some years. Some years we be breaking it down. Some years we be spinning on our backs. Still on the dance floor though. And so we here, we thank y'all for y'all listenership. And I got some interviews of some cats I've been talking to. And I'm gonna start doing some interviews again this fall, getting back on it. And we thank y'all. But this week, man, Illogic and I have talked for like 30 minutes offline.
Right.
Before starting this episode. So we're gonna try to get right into this because we know that we'll do a 20-minute intro when we ain't done this in a minute. And so this week, man, we're gonna talk about too much data. Too much data. What do you mean by that, Blueprint? Well, Illogic and I are in a precarious situation where we never foresaw ourselves being. We have now had careers that are over 20 years long. Illogic's first records came out in 99 and 2000. So did mine. We're damn near at 25 years releasing music. Hell, I've been doing music full time for about 20. That tells you brothers have seen a lot of changes. But as I said with the dance floor analogy, you never know what record's coming on next. And so one thing that has happened to us is that over the course of our careers, we have had a lot of data. We've had a lot of records, a lot of artwork, a lot of what they now call content, a lot of media we've created. And in all those eras, it was a little bit different. And at no point did we think that we would be here this long, needing to reach back, use, and access that data. And some things that have gone on in my life and in Illogic's situation with the show, that made me think about this topic. Now we need to talk about what you need to be thinking about in this new era of data and about your old data and where ultimately this thing needs to go. Because we are solution oriented. So we're going to give you some solutions. And we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and wanna grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against a team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we're back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Illogic. Today we're talking about too much data. And this is what happens when you have a long career. We didn't know he was going to have a long career. If you'd have told me in Illogic, we were sitting in my apartment in Cincinnati, that the records we was dropping, people were still going to be listening to. People were going to still be willing to pay to see him play 20 years later. We would have been like, what? We still going to be doing this then? You going to be old as hell. Why the fuck would we be doing? Really? Would you have believed it, Illogic?
Nah, because when we were doing this, there were no rappers that were over the age of 30, really.
That's true. That's true. 30
You know
was
what I'm saying?
mad
Like
old
when
then.
when we started doing this, 30 was old in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you was in your 20s.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
like
true.
we wasn't thinking about, I'll be 45 in a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like
So true.
we weren't thinking about, oh, we still gonna be writing raps and putting records out and doing shows in our 40s and 50s. Like never.
Crazy.
Never.
Crazy. Yeah, it's true. Like I definitely didn't. I always looked at it like, yo, if I just get 1 year out of this shit, I'm cool. I'll go back to work and do that. I don't care. Just let me get 1 good year. I can say I escaped this fucking corporate, rat race.
Yeah. I just wanted to put a record out. I just wanted to
That was
put
it.
one album out and tour.
Yeah.
and do a tour. That was my goal.
Wow.
That was it.
Humble beginnings, bruh.
Yeah. Can we
Humble
just put a record out and
That's it.
tour the country? And
Oh,
that's it.
We could put our own record out. We
Yeah.
don't gotta wait on nobody.
Yeah.
Look, and then getting fans was just like the icing on the cake, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I can't believe it. But like, so what happens is when we start like that, we're not really planning what's going to happen with all of the stuff we're creating. And this is something that if you're at the beginning of your career, middle, if you've been in it as long as us, this is something that you probably have considered or should consider. And so there were a couple of different things that started this conversation to me. And one of them is, I personally am trying to consolidate what I do creatively so that I can move around and do it more. For years, I've been trying to build a mobile setup. I've come close. I've had it for music, but not for music and video. Right. And so, and multimedia, everything that we do now, the video production, the fucking streaming, I've never been able to do all of that. And so that's just been something that's been ongoing and something that I wanted to do as soon as I got back from tour. I was like, okay, I need to start looking at this. On the other end, moving at the same time, is Illogic has this show coming up, and because he's trying to promote a record that came out 20 years ago, he needs media that was created 20 years ago. That's the best place to go. Like,
Right.
we know we had a bunch of stuff we did 20 years ago. Hell, the record wouldn't have got popular if we wasn't doing shit.
Right.
Who's got it? Where is it?
Yep.
So we have these questions. Is it still on the tapes?
Mm-hmm.
Is it on CD? Is it on YouTube? VHS? You got any flyers and posters? Hey, I got a tub. He called me. Hey, I got a tub of shit from that era.
Mm-hmm.
I can't specifically say if I have Celestial Clockwork shit, but I got a bunch of flyers and posters in a big ass tub down here in my basement, archived. But that is just an idea, an introduction to what we're up against. Because, so let's take it from there. That's the first era we started in. First era is, and this is part one, different storage eras. We started out with physical flyers, physical pictures, physical posters, physical music. We was record. Some was ADAT, some was like, 8-track tapes, 8-track recorders, multi-tracks. Everything was pretty much physical. There was no real computers when we first started doing music. I mean, we had samplers, which had computers in them, but they were even physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't just take them anywhere. They were made to be in studios. So think about creating in that environment where you generate a bunch of tapes, you generate a bunch of ADATs, DATs, VHS tapes. Later came like CDs, CDRs, but in that era it was just like you got physical photos that you have to keep a hold of from these photo shoots, and make copies of. Those are your master copies, from Lightrooms and shit. We started in that era, right? So Illogic and I both have stuff that was made then. There are people with physical, like, high 8 tapes of us rapping.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Probably 2-inch tapes, mix downs where our shit were mastered at or some shit like that. Like, you never fucking know, but in that era, it wasn't really digitized. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't really digitized. That's where we started at. And now 20 years later, unbeknownst to us, we would still matter.
Mm-hmm. Right. People still care.
People still care. We didn't know. We wasn't trying to archive that shit like, oh yeah, we got to keep this because, or we wasn't thinking, oh, we got to get it off of these formats because.
Mm-hmm.
Never crossed our minds. Never crossed our minds because we never looked at it like, yo, we're going to be here. This is going to matter. That's the first era. Our second era was when we start having a physical and a digital. So we still had all the physical we still had the tapes. We still had the physical flyers, the physical promo, physical pictures. But now we're mixing in some digital shit. Like we had the zip drives.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got CDRs, right? Now we got like external, like SCSI drives and things of that nature. For those who've been in it, you remember the SCSI drives. You older if you remember that. You got to be at least 35, 40. That was like, they didn't even last that long. SCSI came and went real quick.
And the storage was not that great.
No, we would spend like $75 for 100 megabyte.
Right,
disc.
right. 100 megabytes fit on something this small. You got gigs of shit on something this small now.
Right. It was
SCSI was like this big.
Big, yeah, big as shit. Look like a VCR.
Right.
You get 100 meg at a time. 200 if you was lucky. You know what I mean? It was like, and it would cost you about 100 meg per song. So you had to really, really be with it on the physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just an example of like the shit that we had, like posters, flyers, obviously. We never stopped having those. So now we got these things. We got some CDRs now. Now some people are archiving things on those. We have floppies. People are archiving some things on those. Some people are, but it's like now we're in 2 different eras of storage now. Okay, let's fast forward to even further down the line of where we are right now. Now, because we've been a part of this physical thing, the quasi-digital thing, now we're in damn near all digital, right? So now we got computers with hard drives, with external drives, with flash drives, jump drives. We got we still got the tubs of, say what?
Cloud storage.
Cloud storage. Yep, you got the cloud. You got phones. We keeping data on our phones now. We still got physical tubs of pictures and promo and all of that shit. The problem comes in when you really take a step back and you look at guys like us, and ultimately this is going to happen to you too if you're listening, because I promise you one thing: what you have right now is not going to be the same. Because just in the same way it wasn't the same for us, it's not going to be the same for you. And so you start off with one thing, but you're not thinking, how do I archive this? How do I use this so that it can be searched? So for example, wouldn't it be great if Illogic could say, hey man, you got any flyers from Celestial Clockwork? And I could just,
yep.
You know, actually I do. It says here, Illogic, that we have, 18 flyers from your release party. We got your pictures, your promo pictures from that too. Oh, we got all in physical format. What would you like them in, Illogic?
Yeah.
Oh, I just through the night. I'll come pick them up. All right. See you tonight. Talk to you later, sir. We don't have that. It's not. You don't hear no clicking and clacking on the keyboard when somebody asks us for shit. we don't have it. We know it's out there. We just don't have it.
Yeah.
And so it makes me think, and this is what makes me want to have this discussion about, like, there's just too much data right now for us. And ultimately, I think no matter what era you start in now, you're going to have to be faced with this. And so I think that the discussion is better to be had right now when you're in your current era, so that you can start thinking about what to do in the next era. But it's wild that we've been through so many different eras and we never thought nothing about it. What do you think about it, sir?
I mean, it is very interesting when you think about that, because, Prism always had his video camera with him. And I don't know if he was thinking like, this is going to be shit that, is going to be needed 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So let me capture it. He just wanted some video to watch on the way back to the crib and just capture some wild shit. You know what I mean? But he had the right idea, of kind of documenting some of the things that we did. And we didn't even think about, we wasn't even thinking about it then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just wild, like, like you said, like now we're in a place where, we have albums that are 20 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to celebrate those albums, the best way to celebrate those albums is to celebrate it with stuff of that time. And there's really no way to have all of that shit, in one place, because we weren't thinking about it then. It's like I had to hit you up about flyers. I hit Brew because Brew has all Prism's tapes and shit.
Yeah.
So I had to hit Brew up about video, and I did a scrub online. I couldn't find as much, what I'm saying? I found some shit, but it's very difficult, to find stuff from that time because we weren't thinking about archiving, and now we do nothing but archive because digitally it is a little easier to archive. It's easier to save that MP4 video file, on a hard drive that's 2 terabytes, you know what I'm saying? To where that only takes up a minuscule amount of space, as opposed to having this big ass VHS tape or this big ass SCSI drive that only holds, 100 meg is, come on, man. Like that is about a song, that's, or part of a song. That might just be the loop, depending on what you,
right.
You know what I mean? So it is wild to be here, still and wanting that stuff and not really knowing how to access all of it.
Yeah.
And really having to search for the shit and send out bolos to people like, hey, if you were at this show in, 2003, send me a message. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's so true. It's so true, man. Yeah, it creates some dilemmas, man. And, you know, a lot of them. So that's like one part of another part of it is like me going through and trying to optimize what I do.
Yeah.
Because I've been a part of so many records and all these eras, and there are other factors, you know. So, and I want to talk about that in the next segment. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. This is your weekly reminder that we have 2 books that you, as a listener or watcher of this podcast, need to absolutely own. The first is The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists, and the second is The Social Media Cheat Code. Both of these books were released within the last year. The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists is a book where I go through the stories and explain the traits that are behind the success of some of the biggest names in hip hop today. The book has got nothing but amazing feedback. And if you are an artist, business person, whatever you do, if you would like to be inspired and would like to learn more about hip hop along the way, and also see some reinforcement of the concepts that we talk about on this podcast, The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop is for you. Second book is The Social Media Cheat Code. That is for everyone who listens to this podcast who does not consider themselves an expert or really good at social media. It's not for super experienced people. It's actually for people who are on social media but are not getting the results you need. So what we did is I broke down like 12 or 13 strategies that I use all the time that actually work really well for me. I put it into book. I gave you examples and I tell you how to implement it. That's a book you absolutely need as a listener to this podcast, watcher of this podcast. If you're on YouTube, supporting these books actually goes a long way towards supporting the podcast. So to support the show, if you like what we do, obviously we don't necessarily get paid to do this shit. So support the products and services that we create. And these 2 books are a big part of that. We appreciate your support, and back to the show. What's up, everybody? Got some big news to share with you all today. I'm proud to announce that for the first time, I will be opening up my artist coaching and consulting services to the public. I have been doing it for several years behind the scenes, helping artists and small businesses achieve their goals, but it's never been something that I made publicly available, nor anything that I promoted until now. So if you're an artist or a small business owner, I'm now available to be booked for one-on-one sessions designed to help you achieve your goals as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If this is something that you're interested in, email me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Tell me a little bit about yourself and we'll get the ball rolling from there. I look forward to working with you all. Peace. All right, folks, we back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint Illogic. This week we're talking about too much data. You know, we're going to talk about some of the dilemmas that I'm facing right now that are unique to this situation we described and existing in all these eras. And one of the issues is that because we've been a part of so many different eras of music production, I have music that has been produced across different machines, different software. So like, for example, so I've had Pro Tools machines. I've had Cubase. We had a 12 track. We had 8 track. I've had, gosh, I guess we could say Reason. We could say Ableton. We could say the MPC 2000. We could say Sonic EPS 16 Plus, Sonic EPS. This is all music production equipment, right? Gear, software, hardware. But the thing that happens is that everything isn't transferable to every other thing, right? So like files that I had for the 12 track, I can't open them in anything else. Same thing for most of the other stuff. You can't open it in anything else. And so now you have to be thinking about, okay, not only how do I think about getting it off of here before it's too late, before this piece of physical hardware corrupts, like what do I transfer it to?
Yeah.
That's universal, right? Like I've got all our 8-track tapes from all the Greenhouse and original shit we did. I still got all those tapes. But what do you do with them? Do you get them
right?
on?
What can you play them on?
Like you play them on? You can play them on that machine. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. To add on to that, I have just in the last 10 years, just due to doing film production, and when I was doing my Kingdom Crown movie, I had a different machine just for that. If you remember when we would record the podcast in the room over there, my extra room over there,
Mm-hmm.
I had an iMac just for that, so that everything would be all there.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that machine. Right now, I have like a old MacBook that I use, old white Mac, just to play shows with. That's small, but it's there. It's got data on it for certain things. I got two iMacs. I got one full-size PC like this that I do content on now. I got another Windows laptop that I tried to replace this and my MacBooks with, and it's not going to work because just going from Windows to data to Mac, and the software differences are too much for me. And so all of those things, I was just like, yo, it's just a dilemma. How do you bring all this shit together? Because every machine has different shit on it
Mm-hmm.
in a different format. And this is things that you don't think about 20 years ago. You don't think I'm using some shit that's not going to even be used in 10 years. You just use what's best. And maybe you go away from certain things. I was a Pro Tools guy, but I'm not. Now I'm a Reaper guy. You know what I mean? But I don't have access to that. I can't even count the number of hard drives that have crashed and failed over the years, and the data that's just been lost on those joints forever. That's one issue. The too many machines across too many data. Second issue is just the unorganized files.
Yeah.
This is the big issue. So, like, for example, every machine I use has a different set of data on it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll share data from one another. Okay, I'm going to work on a podcast on this one, but I'm also going to work on Illogic's music video on this one. And then something happens, I ain't in this room for 6 months, and we stop shooting the podcast over there, I stop using that machine. Then I'm over here. But maybe this machine was in the shop, so then I used that one for it, and I recorded some vocals on this for a few songs, maybe 6-8 months, then I switched them back. This creates this very splintered and fractured set of files that I'm really seeing, and that you have to really, really get on top of. And this is just the modern era of me making music. This ain't got nothing to do with the old shit that's already hanging above our heads. This is just, and you making music on a Windows or a Apple machine with Pro Tools or whatever current software. And how do you organize that? What are you doing? What's different on each of those machines? And what I've found in going through this exercise in the last couple of days is that there's different subsets of data on every machine I got.
Yeah.
From different times when I worked on different machines on different things. And it's never centrally located. It's never one set. There's duplicates. There's things that are here that are missing from there. This has a subset. Like even my fucking movie, there's a subset of my movie on one machine I found. And then the movie itself ain't even edited on that machine. It's like I got everything together except pulling it together. Then I pulled it together on a completely different machine. Maybe because it had more power or memory or whatever. Maybe I tried over there and it didn't work. But when I go back and I try to find the pieces to my movie, it don't work. It's like, oh, you only got these 10 pieces. This ain't even a movie. Damn, where the fuck's the movie? Oh, the movie was on this thing or it was on this hard drive that crashed. This is all you got left. Oh, fuck. Right? This is the world I'm living in. So what this creates is the number 3 problem, which is a fractured workflow.
Yeah.
The more machines you got, the more different places your shit exists, the more fractured your workflow is. Like to me, like I was joking, but the truth is I should be able to get to the point to where Illogic asks for something that we did that's old, and I just do clickety clackety on the damn keyboard.
Search, data search.
Enter. Oh, Celestial Clockwork. Oh, I have a flyer. I have a poster. I got the sessions. I got these songs. I got this promo. I got these pictures. Yeah, they're here. Here's a download link.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should be. It's not that. When you start talking about revisiting old music, You got a fractured workflow now. Hell, think about all the orphanage songs recorded on my 12 track.
Yeah.
SCSI drives.
Yeah. Those exist on tape now.
Right. That's it. Just those master tapes that we bounce down. That's it.
Yep.
Cassette tape. The master recordings with the vocals and the tracked out. It's almost impossible to get to those now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's just that part of it. Right. Like I still have all these machines and now have a fractured workflow. So I can't like grab older things and put them together. Yeah. I was listening to some shit I did 18 years ago yesterday as I was going through this machine and taking everything off of it and archiving it. And I'm like, yo, I forgot about this song. I'm literally listening to 10, 20 songs I forgot about. I sent Illogic a fucking link to a random beat snippets that I didn't even remember making a single fucking beat on it from 2017 because I made it, uploaded it to my Google Drive, and then the machine I made it on died. I did not remember making the beats. I did not remember uploading that beat snippets. And the beats don't sound nothing like what the fuck I'm doing right now.
No, there's some fire on there too.
Bro.
Like, damn, this is only 45 seconds long.
Right. I was listening to it like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
I made these? And I remember, oh, this was when your hard drive crashed. You didn't have a backup. And like, you just stopped making beats for like 6 months.
Yeah, that'll depress the hell out of you, bro.
Oh, I was sad. Shout out to Super, because Super sent me some drums that got me back on the horse. I was done. I was like, I was so sad. And he was like, yo, Print, man, here's some drums, man. But that was like end of 2017. That's just another example of like how fractured things. So you got a fractured workflow and experience. You can't pull all these things together and utilize them. Number 4 issue is creating other places. The more fractured shit is, the more tied you are to the place where it's at.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? You put your data somewhere central, whether it's on the cloud, your Google Drive, whatever. One central machine, one central archive. All of a sudden, you can access it anywhere, any place, anytime, for any purpose. We don't have that ability now. Like, to get to all the old promo and shit that we have magazines, magazine covers, articles. We got all types of shit that's literally physically laid out. We don't have it. It's centrally located physically, but it's not digitally archived.
Yep.
Right? And that leads to number 5, which is we can't leverage our content.
Nope.
We cannot reuse and repurpose the shit that 20 years of shit we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
We can't leverage it right now, which is a fucking shame because now it's actually history. It's actually an archive of our whole scene. It's not even about us anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Our history in Columbus hip hop as artists is now Columbus hip hop history. At one point, it was just us doing our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's bigger than us. But if we don't have access to it, it's gone. Damn near didn't exist. It don't exist in the minds of those who were there.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you think about, yo, we have all these things that we're not really leveraging. Like, we talk about it all the time, creating content and how, it's a must in this era for new artists. You don't exist on social media without content. The dilemma for us is like, we have 20 years of history, but we're depending on the right now to create content.
Yep.
If we had access to that 20 years of history, we would have content every day.
Yeah, we have content for years. We wouldn't have to create another piece of content.
No. We
just edit the old content.
Edit the old content, add on, remix it, flip it, bounce it, put it back out there. Hell, just posting old flyers. That's a post or two a week.
Mm-hmm.
Old pictures. It's 1 or 2 things a week. But we don't have it. So we cannot use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucked up. Too much data, not enough organization. And the answer has to be like, we have to like understand the depth of the problem. And this is like us saying, hey, this is the depth of the problem, you know? And it's something that if you just started whatever your creative endeavors, you may not even be thinking in these terms. We weren't. We didn't know. But what happens if shit goes well? What happens if you want to archive for what you did for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for your community, for your scene, for yourself, for history, for the archives? And you can't access it. No one else can access it. Right? Like, this is the conversation that I'm trying to have, because the data and the creativity, it shouldn't exist on this island where it's just make a bunch of shit, make a bunch of shit, make a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we have to use that. Like, every time you have an album anniversary, why are we creating new content?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. No reason.
Like, everything I'm going through for this damn Chamber Music 2 Music album, in a year from now, I got to create a whole bunch of more new content to promote it again. I should be able to just clickety clack on that keyboard, pull up everything that I've made right now, throw it on a scheduler, remind people, hey, this is a year old. Bam. Hey, it's 5 years old. 10 years old. We didn't know that this was the game back then. This is the game, and it will be the game for the foreseeable future. And so that's a lot. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I mean, you know, we are in a place now where both of us are celebrating something that is 20 years old. Like, Chamber Music came out the same year that Celestial came out. Like,
yep.
They're kind of, you know, brothers, you know, in that sense. And both of us are creating new content. You know what I'm saying? Which is wild. Like, luckily, I did the reissue of Celestial not too long ago, a couple years ago. So I have a lot of content from that time that I've been able to reuse and repurpose. But it's still not 20 years old.
Yes.
It's still not the original shit that we created when we, you know, put this album out. Like, I have to go into my tubs and find magazine articles, find, you know, shit that we did that was in physical form.
Yeah.
That celebrated that time. It might not even be that record specifically, but it's that time. And I have to search for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I might not even have it. You know what I mean? I gotta find ways to celebrate that stuff and utilize that stuff. And I think going forward, it's very important to be organized with your shit. Like, these days, luckily, I've only been on Windows since I've started making music. So it was a little easier for me to keep some things, but I've still had computer crashes. I've still had hard drive crashes. I've still had, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, I have one folder on this computer that I have that is labeled old computer stuff. Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to transfer stuff from that hard drive to another hard drive to, you know, have to try to keep up with the shit. And it's very difficult, but I've gotten a lot better with organization. And hopefully, you know, I'll be able to keep my stuff organized enough so when I'm no longer here, that my kids can just pull the shit up and say, oh, Dad's, you know, record from blah, 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 or, you know, shit like that. So, yeah, it's wild. I mean, I still have all of my books that I wrote all my rhymes in. You know, I have all of that stuff actually in a safe deposit box because I know that that's going to be valuable for some at some point, and I want my children to have access to that. That thing, dope. You know. So, you know, it's wild to think that my rap books are going to be valuable. You know. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know. And like you said, like, you know, our history is now the history of Columbus. I mean, it's really underground hip hop history because we were
absolutely.
You know, we were on the first, you know, the first wave of that underground hip hop shit. And, you know, to know our history is to know the history of underground hip hop, you know, and that's a wild thing to be able to say. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. So we'll take a break and we're going to come back and talk about solutions. Be right back. Word. Quick announcement.
Over the last several years, we've been asked many times by the listeners of the show if we would ever open it up to the public for advertising. We've always been interested in this, but we never had the systems in place to make it work properly. I'm proud to announce that we are officially accepting advertising from the public on Super Duty Tough Work. Meaning, if you're a small business owner or an artist and you'd like to create more awareness about your product, service, or release on the Super Duty Tough Work podcast, we're now in a position to do that. For more information, email us at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Email us there. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you would like to promote, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible to let you know if we think it's a good fit and what the next steps are. Thank you for your time. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. All right, folks, we back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint Illogic. We're talking about too much data, the problem, and what to do. You know, we would not be the most infamous podcast on planet Earth if we did not talk about solutions. And so solution number one is something that we learn in information systems. That a lot of people who make beats and make music with technology absolutely need to learn. And that is naming conventions. File naming conventions is something you learn very early when you're in IT. You're studying computers and stuff, because everything is about search, especially at that level. Every single thing you do, every subroutine needs to be named in a way to where you know where it is, how to find it, and other people can come behind you and use it. Mm-hmm. So my file names of all of my stuff are good.
Not mine.
Really?
I didn't start out well. I didn't start out well. And it's crazy because I have a degree in information systems.
You know better now. Yeah. You didn't always know. Know.
Right.
You know, but it's one of those things where it's like, you have to have a philosophy to what you're naming everything. And you have to name things with the assumption that you will have to find this later, or someone else will have to find this later. In the same way you use keywords and search on Google, you need to take that philosophy and apply it to your data across your creative endeavors. How do I name things so that I can type in a few keywords and get back the results of what I'm looking for easily in one place? So you have to create a system and a philosophy. And what I've had to do, what I've realized is that across all my machines, I have to create standard folder names. And each folder is for something that I do, a bucket of thing that I create. So for example, I have a folder called obviously beats. That's just beats by themselves. Songs, beats that have vocals on them, right? Or it could be my beat, somebody else's beat that I record on. I have a folder called podcast, obviously. Data for this. I have this shit across everything from designing a logo on one machine. And then I fucking did a flyer on that machine. Then I did this on this, and I downloaded there for a quick second, and I did there. It's like that has to be on every machine. Another example would be video, anything. Another folder I need everywhere is social media content. So what I'm doing now is I'm coming up with a naming convention for all folders, that's going to exist on every machine that I have right now, because I can't consolidate these machines if the data is in different places, if I don't know where to put it. So the first thing I have to do is create these buckets. And so I'm going to every machine that I got, and I'm adding these folders, and I'm taking like a day, and I'm putting everything into those folders that's supposed to be there. Right. The next step I do is I take those folders and then I'll start putting them on a different machine or the cloud. Right. Because I know that there's data redundancy. I know there's a bunch of shit that's repeated. I'm just not trying to fix it yet. I'm trying to get it all in the same place, all in the same folders first, centrally. But that's just one thing. That's the first thing. Naming conventions. Our advice to you is to go out there and name things properly. Have a name that if you send some, like I put my beats numbered, right? And I never repeat it up. So it's just a sequential number of whenever I started on that machine or that thing. So I know that if you send me a beat, it was beat 333, I can literally find that anywhere. There won't be two of them. But sometimes you name things that ain't got numbers on them, don't got a name. When I name my samples, I put some people will use album name. I'll put the artist name, song title, and then if I'm really feeling it, I'll put a description of what the fuck it is. So it could be like Bob James, Nautilus, name the song, sax solo. Yeah. And that'll just have that section. A lot of people don't do that. But let's say you try to make that beat and you can't find the beat and you want to recreate it. You're never going to be able to find that sample if you didn't name it properly, which just adds to this shit. Maybe you gave that beat to an artist. They're like, yo, I want to use that beat now. Oh shit, I can't find it, man. Can you just remake it? No, I can't. You look crazy, So think about the naming convention. And as Illogic said, like we were taught this in school. It's not like some crazy philosophy, but when it comes to art, we be slipping.
Yeah. Because when I first started making beats, I just named the samples trumpet. You know what I'm saying? I would just,
because you thought there would only be one trumpet.
Right. I didn't know. I had no idea until, like you said, I got into some positions where I needed to remake something, or, the file got corrupted. So the timing was off for the beat. So I had to remake it. I had to find the sample. The sample was moved into
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it because it was just labeled trumpet. And it's like, I need to pull up trumpet, and I have like 10,000 trumpets, trumpet 1, trumpet 2, trumpet 3. And so as I got deeper into making beats now, as you do, I'd put the artist name. Actually, what I put first whatever the sample is. So if it's, piano for chopping, and then underscore artist name, underscore song title. Yeah. And then I put a folder of the album that I sampled. I have a folder of every album that I sample now. Nice. And I have all the samples from that album in that same folder. Nice. So I've gotten a lot better with being organized with my samples. But when I first started, it was bad, bro. Yeah. Piano solo. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't know you had 10,000 of them at some point. Right. It's not going to
weird sound. Like shit like that, Oh man.
Yeah, it's cool when you just don't know. You didn't know. Yeah. You didn't know. Yeah, we are like that. Like you have no idea. Then you're like, oh, this not gonna work long term. This not gonna work. I can't find shit. Everything's the same. You spend all this time looking for it where you could have just found it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first thing. The second solution for me is to try to reduce the number of machines you use. So my goal is to rely more on the cloud and then less on different machines. So I'll ultimately try to have one laptop that I can do everything on. Plug it in here and use the monitor or my camera if I want to, and I have the light set up. Plug it in over there and make beats. Plug it in upstairs in my office and work on the business. Right. That's ultimately what I want to have, but I want what's on there to be necessary for me to create, but I don't want it to be an archive in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the archive will exist centrally. Anything that's older should exist centrally. And if I need it, I'll just download it, access it. But the goal is to find one machine powerful enough to keep everything that I need. Because I've learned that too many machines just creates this very fractured thing that I'm going to be probably spending the next few weeks trying to clean up. Probably takes, I just now got everything off the first iMac, and that's like, that took me maybe a couple days of shit, because between copying huge files to your external, then you got to copy your external to your new machine, then you got to copy that shit, upload it to the cloud, and you're dealing with hundreds of gigs of data for some of these things. Hours, right? Yes. So a couple days on that one, and I'm just now wrapping that one up. Then I got to do the second one, and then I got to do this machine, right? And so this could take a minute. And then I still got to fine tune that machine and make sure it works like the other one does before I even switch over. And so it's just it's something to think about. And I say the earlier you can think about just having one thing and having things centrally located, the better, because ultimately that's where it's going to go. Mm-hmm. No matter and I'm not saying we don't want anything on hard drives. You know, you don't want to be like everything up there and take you forever to get your shit off. But try to learn what you need on your machines that are local to you in a physical sense, and look at everything else about what you do as something that you can archive and offload centrally.
Yeah, make sure you back your shit up.
Yes.
You know, that's very important. One of the biggest issues that I had, because I came into this game very late and I didn't really understand everything that was necessary to be successful in the world of production and recording and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've lost so much shit because things weren't backed up. You know, like computer crash, no external hard drive with the information on it. Information's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like
real
now
tears.
I've got real tears. Like depression.
Real tears.
Like depression, bro. Like when my last time I had a computer crash, like I didn't come in my studio for like a month at least. At least I couldn't even look at my shit. Couldn't even look at it. So bad. But now I've gotten to the point now where most of the things that I use are on external hard drives, and then I have a copy of that external hard drive that I don't even use.
Yeah.
That I have stored. You know, and it's not that much saved on my actual computer, you know, except the programs that I use.
Yeah.
And then most of the data that, you know, that works in those programs is on external hard drives. So I can move around, and I have my desktop, and I have a laptop that have all the same programs on it.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is transfer the hard drive. You know what I'm saying? All I have to do now is take the external, plug it into my laptop if I'm out of town or if I'm moving around.
Yeah.
And I can move around that way. But I want to eventually get to the cloud, and that way I don't have to have anything physical on me necessarily to access all of the data that I need.
Yeah. 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 And that's like number 3 is just like use the cloud and external hard drives to back up everything. Things you don't even know you need. You eventually need them, you know?
Yeah.
That's definitely something like, just like you, I've had hard drive crashes numerous, and every time I just was like brokenhearted for months.
Yeah, it hurts.
You just don't want to make music. You just be depressed, and you be kicking yourself like, I knew better.
Yep.
I fucking knew better. And I, like, part of the reason I was like, I got to go ahead and get this drive so I can get everything off of that joint quick as shit. So at least I know I have one working backup of that data. To where if anything happens to it, I can keep it rocking. You know, I have a backup on a drive, and I want an actual clone of the machine to where it's like, if that motherfucker dies, okay, cool. I got this one. Boop, boop, boop. Restore that back up. Boom. Same machine, same thing. I'm just cooking, you know, to where I don't have to even think about that, which is where I'm trying to go with it now. And, but yeah, that's number 3. Just use the cloud as much as you do, and external hard drives. Number 4 solution is scanners. All this physical stuff that we have, like I'm literally probably going to take a week or two at some point this fall and just take an hour a day, put all these tubs, anything that can fit on a regular scanner, I'm scanning it.
Yeah.
I'm scanning it, and I'm going to at least name it and archive it centrally, because we got so much stuff, so many pictures, so many fucking flyers and posters and promo and just things that we didn't even think about that are there. So I want to use a scanner, and I think we all have things like that. You know, if we're talking about photos on our phone, we want to start getting photos off of our fucking phones.
Yeah. Because if your phone crashed, then all those photos are gone.
And thing too, like you can't really share them.
Right, you can't.
We don't really think about photos on our phone in terms of sharing like we do stuff that's like centrally located. Like I have take pictures and if, you know, back in the day we would print it, put it in a fucking album and share it physically with people came over. I realized I got like a whole thing on this iMac upstairs. It's like 10 years of photos of shit that like never been printed. You know, they were on my phone or somewhere else or straight into the air. It's like, yo, a lot of this shit needs to be printed. Yeah. Some from shows, some from, it's like a fucking history thing. Like it goes year by year, all these photos and shit. I'm like, yo, I need to just send this shit, upload this shit to Walgreens and have this shit printed.
Yeah.
Export each year, name them and upload them so I can search for them if I need them. Okay. Respect the architecture. And then I just get 100 pics from that time.
Yeah.
That's what's on my thing. It's like I got pictures of me and Count and everybody on tour and Groove and video. Why can't I search it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that's something we have to be aware too. Like the scanner can help us like get things out of our phone, you know?
Yeah.
Number 5, we spoke about standard file naming conventions. I can't tell you how to name your shit, but name your shit in a way to where you or anyone else can find what they're looking for. You know, so if you're creating beats for a certain album or a certain artist or a certain time, make sure they're somewhere where people can find those, where you can find them and look them up. If you're writing songs, where are those songs at? Are they under the folder of the album name? Are they just randomly on different folders? You know what I mean? Like we all do stuff like that, and that's what gets you into trouble, you know? And last but not least, the benefit of this. Number 1, less work. It's more work up front. Don't get it wrong. I don't enjoy any shit I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But it's going to be less work once I get it built. Once it's built, it's just like we're saying, I can search it. Illogic can search it. Anyone can search it. Hey, can you find this for me? Do you have any of that? Yep, I do. No, I don't. I have this, this, and this. Here, you can pull from that. You know, this could be video and photo archive of everything. Audio, songs. We need all these things kind of archived. The second benefit, better search. And the third benefit is just more reuse and repurposing. You don't have to start from zero every time you create content because you ain't archiving your shit properly. Archive it properly and then you can use it. So that's it. That's it for this week. I know this ain't the most happy topic. You know, it can be kind of grim. Like, damn, I got to do some work.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, soon as you guys get it to this point, and some of you haven't been doing it for 20 years, so you should be able to get there faster than us.
Right.
Us with 20 years, we have to actually go back and really, really put more time into the old physical shit than we do the new digital shit. Yeah. But
the digital shit's easy. That's in comparison.
Yes.
That's easy. It's just moving shit through folders.
Right.
It's just
copy,
moving
copy.
files. Copy.
Yeah. Rename. Yeah. That's nothing. Yeah. This everything else is like shit. This takes time. This is going to take some effort. So for everybody else, you know, the benefit will be that you will be able to reuse it and repurpose it way easier. Way easier. You know, you got an anniversary for a project coming up. You thinking about some content you want to post. How can I create this? You ain't got to create nothing new all the time, right? You got tons of shit you've already done that you can run again. That's the beauty. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel all the time. So that's it for this week. That's it. I hope y'all got something out of this conversation. We appreciate y'all listenership. And Logic Celestial Clockwork 20-year anniversary show in Columbus, October 12th. And then November 8th, Blueprint Chamber Music 2 album release party in Columbus, Ohio. Rehab Tavern, free, all ages. Myself playing beats and a couple raps sprinkled about. Illogic playing beats and Product playing beats. Show Your Faces is free, all ages, Friday night. Come check us out and holler at your boys.
All
right, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.